Hi everyone, welcome back to Grounded Haven. Today I'm going to be showing you two of our current favorite meals using a lot of the ingredients that we've been harvesting in the spring from the garden. So these are going to be nice fresh garden meals. Earlier in the week we had harvested a lot of greens, so we have lettuce and kale, and we had also harvested some beautiful spring radishes. That was all in our last video, so you can check that out if you missed it. So I'm going to jump right into the first meal, which is going to be a salad we've been really enjoying lately. It's going to be a honey mustard chicken salad, and I'm going to start by making the dressing. I'm starting with a little bit of Dijon mustard, and then I'm going to add some honey to that, a little bit more honey than mustard. And then I'm going to add some of our homemade mayo. I don't really measure anything, but I'd say the general proportions are about 1 part mustard, 2 parts honey, and maybe 3 or 4 parts mayo. I'm just gonna mix that all together. It's a really simple, easy dressing. It's gonna be great for our salad, but it's also a great dip for veggies, and it just takes a minute to put together. Next, I'm going to take a small piece of bread and I'm going to tear this into pieces to make some croutons for our salad. I'm ripping these by hand because I like when croutons have more of like a craggy texture. It will soak up more oil this way and get really nice and crispy, but you can also just cut this into traditional cubes if you want to. And after this is torn into nice bite-sized pieces, I'm going to transfer it into a bowl where I'm going to add a few tablespoons of olive oil along with salt and pepper and some mixed Italian herbs. I'm going to add this to a frying pan and let it get really nice and toasty and crispy. You can also do this in the oven, but I'm going to be using this frying pan later on. So I'm just throwing the croutons in here. And while those are toasting, I can prep some of the other ingredients. I have some of those radishes that we picked. I have a couple of our French breakfast ones, which I'm going to cut into wedges. This has definitely been our best radish year yet. It has taken a few years for us to really figure out how to grow them well. We always used to have pithy radishes or they wouldn't form the bulbs. And you can see that these are not pithy or hollow in the middle. And the secret to doing that is really just consistent moisture. So we've had a good amount of rain this spring, and we've also been keeping on top of watering a little bit better, so that has definitely helped for us to get really nice crisp radishes without that sponginess on the inside. And we also have some of our white radishes. This is our first time trying them. Those did turn out to be surprisingly really nice and tender. Next, I've pulled out some chicken patties to top the salad with. These are actually vegetarian chicken patties. I think they're based off of like a soy protein. They're really delicious. And these come as frozen patties. I just microwave them for a minute to defrost them a little bit so that they're not completely frozen in the center. And then when my croutons are done, I'm going to set those aside into a bowl and then add my chicken patties into the pan and just brown them on both sides so that they are nice and crispy. To my bowl, I'm going to add some lettuce. We have this beautiful romaine lettuce that we harvested the other day. And then I'm going to drizzle on some of that honey mustard dressing and just mix it in. I'm going to top the salad with our radishes, and then I also added some pumpkin seeds and also some dried cranberries for more texture and flavors. Next, I'm going to slice up those vegetarian chicken patties that I fried up. They're really nice and crispy. They add such a nice crunch to the salad. And I'm not always a fan of imitation meat products, but these ones are really good. I think the brand is called Alpha. We just got them at Costco. And I love these for having a really quick addition to a salad like this, or you can make them into a sandwich, of course. It's kind of cool how far plant-based meat products have come. There are some really good options on the market these days. And that is our finished salad. It's really nice and satisfying with that chicken patty and the croutons. It's also just a really nice light spring lunch, one that's not gonna put you to sleep right after, so you can get right back to work. And honestly, neither of us are really even salad people, but this is a salad that we could probably eat every day. It's a great one to be using up all of that lettuce that we're harvesting from the garden right now. For the next recipe, we're going to be using up some of the baby kale that we've been harvesting, which is really sweet and delicious, and we also have a ton of eggs to use up. Chickens lay a lot of eggs in the spring, and we have 9 chickens, so some days we get 9 eggs, and since we only have 2 people in our house, that's a lot of eggs to eat through. So for this meal, we're going to be concentrating on that kale and those eggs, and we're going to be making a charred kale frittata. So first I'm just heating up the grill, and I'm going to get some sweet potatoes started on here just as a little bit of a side dish, and I'm just going to be cooking the rest of the meal out here as well. This spring weather has been so beautiful that I want to spend as much time outside as possible. So I just mixed these sweet potatoes with some olive oil, salt and pepper, and also some garlic powder, and that's going to go on the grill with the lid closed for a few minutes. While that's going, I'm cracking up a bunch of eggs. I have 9 eggs here, and just look at all of those beautiful colors of those eggs. I don't think I'll ever be able to get over how beautiful our home-raised eggs are. So I'm just cracking all of those into a bowl. I'm using the same bowl that I mixed my sweet potatoes in just to get any of that leftover seasoning and to save me from washing an extra dish. And then I'm just going to whisk those up and add some salt and pepper, and that's it. It's just going to be an egg mixture. There's no milk or cheese like you would have in a quiche, which is really great because you're really using the maximum number of eggs. I'm basing this meal off of a recipe by Allison Roman, and she calls it a charred kale frittata. So I'm basically following her method. Here's a little check on the sweet potatoes, which are ready to flip. Grilled sweet potatoes are a new discovery for me. We visited a friend recently and she grilled sweet potatoes, which I had never thought to do, and they're just absolutely delicious and a really nice, cheap and easy side to have with pretty much any meal. So on my side burner, I am going to heat up a 10-inch cast iron skillet. While that preheats, I'm tending to my sweet potatoes again. I'm just moving them off to kind of like a cooler part of the grill so that they can continue cooking without burning. And then I also have some garlic bread that I made up. I just spread some bread with some butter that was mixed with minced garlic and oregano, and I'm just going to grill those with the butter side down. Grilled garlic bread is another recent favorite of ours, and we could probably have that with every meal. So the cast iron is now preheated and it's nice and hot, and I'm gonna add a big handful of our kale to that. And I'm not going to stir it at all. I'm just going to let it get really nice and charred and crispy on that one side before I turn or mix this at all. After I've given that kale a chance to char on that one side, I'm going to use my tongs and kind of like flip the kale. I'm not trying to really mix it because I want as many sides as possible to get that nice crispiness. So you can see how some of those leaves are getting nice and brown. It's almost like a kale chip, and this is going to give our frittata really good flavor and texture. After those have a chance to brown on a couple of sides, I'm going to add in my egg mixture. A frittata is basically just like a crustless quiche, but it also doesn't have any milk, so it's a little bit of like a firmer texture. A quiche is a little bit more custardy. And frittatas are a lot easier to make because you don't have to deal with doing the crust, and the ingredients are really simple. This one is as simple as it gets, just the kale and eggs basically. I'm gonna give the eggs a few stirs so that any of that runny egg on top settles onto the bottom and cooks. To set the top of the frittata, usually you can just stick this into an oven, but since I don't want to turn on my oven and I'm outdoors, I'm just going to take my chances and flip this. So I have to be a little bit careful with this since it is pretty thick. So I'm going to use both of my utensils and just flip it over onto the other side, which is just going to need to cook for a minute or so. And then our frittata is finished. Here is our finished frittata. You can see that nice brown crispiness from the kale and also from the eggs. So simple and easy to make, and it uses a lot of ingredients that we have an abundance of in the spring. So this is a meal that is definitely getting repeated a lot around here. And then we have our side of grilled sweet potatoes and our grilled garlic bread. So that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing these 2 meal ideas. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again in the next video.